Hey, hi, and welcome back to another Runescape 3 Ironman video. So, in the last one, we finished at Anachronia. We were building up our base, and we just stayed around, visited, and let our resources build up to build the teleport pad. Then teleported back to Birthrup to finish this statue, get some nice construction and some prayer levels, and then went back into the cave to finish up that crawling hands task that we had from before. Now that we've gotten some combat levels, this was a lot easier and didn't use as much food, and we got to practice our combat skills just a little bit more. Then once we finished up our task, we ran down to Falador to activate that lodestone as well, and then decided to start the Witch's House quest. So with this quest, it's pretty easy. It's just a little boy says, "Oh, I kicked a ball over into the witch's house. Can you get it back for me?" But then it's when it gets a little bit weird. First, you find a key, break into the witch's house, steal some cheese off of her shelf. Then you break into her basement where she has a Tesla coil fence. You use your insulated gloves to then break into the fence to steal a magnet out of her cupboard. You then find a hole in the wall, bait out a mouse with the cheese that you stole, and then use a magnet on the mouse because the mouse has a key on it. And then you find out that she's walking back and forth in her garden, so you have to run past to make sure that she doesn't see you. Find out that you don't have the right key. Find the right key in a fountain, because that's where we normally hide keys. And then you run back to the shed and grab the ball. And that's not the only thing. Turns out she has this homunculus in her shed, and it's a chicken. And that chicken just absolutely destroyed me. I was not ready to fight this chicken, but turns out it turns into a spider afterwards. So even though we hit 10 defense, I was just getting absolutely shredded. So I decided to just leave, and I'm gonna come back later whenever I don't get wrecked by the spider, because it turns out there's actually 2 more forms after that, and it only gets harder. So I'm just gonna save myself and just leave and come back later. So in thinking about how I would be able to beat the homunculus later, or the witch's experiment as it's called, I went to Varrock and was going to try and buy some armor, and then realized that the armor shop sells basically all of the different types of armor up to adamant. So that was pretty cool. And then I found the aura shop. Now, I think some of this is not available to me as an Iron Man, but some of these auras are incredibly strong, like 100% game changers. But I got distracted again and found another wilderness event. So this one turns out it's actually an evil tree. And with this one, the first thing that you do is you gather the bones, crush them, and then use them to fertilize the tree. The tree then becomes mature, evil, and then you spend your time trying to cut it down, which it's not very hard, and a lot of people attend. It doesn't really attack you, it just has the roots that come out occasionally that just kind of stop you doing what you're doing, but you just cut it down, use its kindling, and then use the kindling to then burn down the tree that you just grew and killed, and then catch these orbs to get more kindling to add to the dead body of the tree that you just grew and killed, to then get more rewards. All right, so we got a ton of fire making levels from it. And you also get these wild reward bags. And these bags are pretty special. So the first bag, we get wyvern bones, some energy, and some of these obelisk shards, which gives you teleports to the wilderness. And the second one, we got some muddy keys and these necronium salvage pieces. Now the necronium salvage is pretty special. We got some energy and some salamanders, which are a decently high level hunting thing. And the muddy keys are for a chest out in the wilderness, similar to the crystal key in Taverley. And then out of the very wild rewards pack, we got magic logs super early, which was super cool. And then some more Necronium salvage pieces. So the Necronium salvage pieces actually out for a ton of money. So this is a huge early game boon for me. Just those small ones give me 250 gold. So we took our wild rewards and decided to bank them for now and start our second or third quest, the Sheep Shearer mini quest. And I tried to be cheeky and buy some balls of wool because that's all you need in RuneScape Classic. It's just regular balls of wool, but turns out they actually changed it in RS3 and you need black wool. So I had to shear up some black wool and go spin that into balls. And whenever I spun them, I actually decided to sell one of the medium pieces for 125k. Now this is less than you get for low alch, but it's still good early game money for us now. So we pocketed the money, spun the balls of wool, gave them back to the farmer, get some extra little money, and then if you actually talk to him again, he gives you some extra money afterwards, basically saying like, hey, we sold the stuff that you gave us, here's your share. So if you haven't done that yet, get your free extra, just a little bit of gold. So right after we finished, I got a little bit curious and I looked up the quest requirements for that secession quest that I've mentioned a few times because I wanted to go fast and I wanted to unlock the dive skill. Now, it has some pretty hefty quest requirements, so that's going to be something that I'm going to have to work towards in time, but we will get the dive eventually. Staying in Lumbridge, we then decided to train up our thieving, which went about as well as you expected. You start off by pickpocketing people, which is, I guess, the easiest thing that you can start doing. But then once you get a couple of levels, you can start stealing from stalls, which is much easier because you can just hide behind the stall and thieve and not get caught. So we started stealing vegetables, started stealing cakes for some early game food, and then while you're pickpocketing, you get a little pamphlet. The pamphlet tells you to start this quest in the new Thieving Guild. Now, this is a quest that I actually remember from way back in the day. It's called Buyers and Sellers. And what it wants you to do is to help start the guild by stealing a chalice. Now, we return back to the hermit and you light a fire outside of his house and then distract him to then pickpocket him and steal the chalice from him. Now, I actually remembered this from a super long time ago. I remembered exactly what to do, which I was very surprised. So you steal the chalice, which he literally watches me do, and run back, turn it back into the quest giver and tell him that, hey, you lied to me. This was not the person that you said had the chalice. To which he, of course, just brushes it off and says, don't worry about it, it's no big deal. And after you return it back to him, you get a quest complete, and the Thieves Guild becomes a thing. It starts to be built, and it's something that you can return to later to get some bonus XP and train up your thieving. Not anything right now, but it will get bigger over time as we level up and we interact with it a little bit more. Then return to the town market to gather up a little bit more food, and then remember that I have those keys. So those keys, like I said, go out to a chest that is out in the wilderness that's at the end of the lava maze. So what you have to do is you have to run from the lodestone up north and get to the lava maze to right about there, which is where the chest is. So it is full of different monsters in the wilderness, and I tried my best to get through, but had a little bit of trouble getting into it.
God damn it. I teleported into a thing that killed me. Oh, God.
So, after a death, I tried to make my way back with a little bit more food this time to try and be more cautious of all of the hellhounds and the thing that's at the very end, which I think is called a ripper. So, tried my best, got through the web, and then instantly died again. Alright, so I've seen I need to talk to somebody in Birthright. I think it's this guy for the Wicked Hood. Oh, no. It is definitely not. Okay, I need to come talk to this guy for the Wicked Hood.
So, can I fix you up with one of these wicked hoods?
Right, now we have a cool hood to help us with rune crafting, which I do want to do at some point. Alright, so I tried again and it didn't work, and now I'm at death. Hello. I did. Yes! Yes, I want all of my food back. We'll try this again later when I'm not 10 defense. Since I had the money, I then went back to my player-owned house to build the kitchen to finish that task that's in the top left. Okay, so I realized that the reason that I did Tree Gnome Village is to find out about evil trees because I wanted to do evil trees, and then I never actually did it. So let's ask about evil trees. Okay, so it told me in 45 minutes there's going to be outside of a place of legends, which means it's going to be an arty outside of the Legends Guild. So while we're waiting on that, let's see if we can find a different distraction and diversion to maybe get some more XP. Actually, let's look into those Guthixian Caches, see what we can do with those. So I looked it up on the wiki, and it told me that I can do it at any one of these things except for this one. Because this one's like the first one. But we're going to talk to this person to figure out what divination is, because I have not seen anything. This game came out while I was on break, or not this game, the skill came out while I was on break, and other than playing with orbs, I have no idea what it is. Okay, myself and this dude are really thinking about it. I just did pull a clue skull out of there, though. That's pretty cool. And some memory strands, which just looks like I pulled out sour gummy worms. Oh, what is this? So that orange ball was a chronicle fragment. And it says I should go talk to her to find out more. But let's get a full inventory first. Oh, I see. So I can give them to her, or I guess I could do it in here for bonus XP. So let's go do the bonus XP. Oh, I see. I thought this was the crater, but it says I have to finish the World Wakes, which is not... I'm not even anywhere close to doing that. So after exploring the divination for a little bit, I actually teleported with one of those memory strands, and it teleported me to the clear other side of the world, to this Guthix shrine fountain thing. Honestly, I'm still not 100% sure what it is, but she gave me an orb with a little Guthix face in it and told me to restore the orb. In order to do that, it needed a ton of the energy, and I found out how to add the energy back to the crater, but to give you XP and divination, but also give me more orbs back, which kind of seems like the optimal thing for me to do. So I needed to grind out some more of the energy, which means I just had to sit here for a little while and just kind of pull up orbs, I guess. So because I've been doing those wilderness events, I just got to 5 divination, and I found out that I can make this broken memento. I don't know what it is, but it requires 3 wyvern bones. As an Iron Man, I should not have wyvern bones, but I managed to get 15 of them from a wilderness event just by chance. So let's see what this broken memento is. From what I can tell, it's nothing. Alright, well, we'll keep it for now. It's fine. Alright, so we finally got our 500. Let's check this. Yes. What? Okay, so in doing that, I just went from 7 to 20 divination. I guess that little 20-30 minute distraction was worth it. Holy cow. I'm also looking at the level up thing, and I'm seeing there's these boons, and this is a permanent upgrade. So it looks like I'm going to have to make these as well. So the time rolled around for us to try one of the Guthixian Caches, which is another distraction and diversion that you can do, and it is where you take these memories and throw them into this middle green portal for some reason. There's also robots trying to stop you from doing that for some reason. So they will knock it out of your hand, but then you can also turn into a robot and tickle them and disable them, or something along those lines. And of course you get XP for that, and then after you finish, it kicks you out of the crater and you get some bonus XP for doing whatever you did. After we did the Guthixian Cache, I remembered about the evil tree, and I used the spirit tree to teleport to it, but once we got there, unfortunately, it was an elder evil tree, which is the highest level one. It takes about 90 woodcutting, I believe. So again, to try and cross off more tasks off of the list on the top left, I traveled back to the Alcarid dig site to then open up this door, which was the final task, and managed to get inside by using a seal on the door. This is pretty cool. There is a lot going on here, and this is super cool looking, and I'm going to come back because I'm overwhelmed. Oh. So in trying to get this thing to go away, I accidentally found the daily challenges. So we can go do that real quick. I just happened to come over here to cut down some trees and then found a crash star by chance. So let's go ahead and mine into that too. So we lit him out, and he's giving me cosmic runes, astral runes, gold stone spirits, which I don't even know what those are, and just 50k coins. I'll take it. That's great. We might as well go get our ore box. Alright, so we got 6 of the geodes from mining. And before, all we were getting were spirit seeds, but now we got a ruby. We got a red topaz, another spirit shard, another spirit shard, another spirit shard, and another spirit shard. Very cool. But I realized that I should be mining iron so that I could get the iron ore box, and then I could get a better pickaxe, and then I could start making better armor. So I was kind of wasting my time kind of mining the coal, or the copper and tin, but we will, we'll see. I also managed to find both of the mining stones while doing that shooting star, so we're up to 22 mining now. That's crazy. We went from, I think, 8 or 9 to just about 20 from just the shooting star. And it really wasn't doing anything. I just kind of let it do its thing. So we caught another Guthixian cache and got to 25 divination. And then once we finished that, we traveled over to Falador to gather up some more of the low-level energies to then create those 2 different boons to give us those permanent upgrades. And at first I got pretty confused as to what it was I needed to do, because I wasn't understanding that you could use either one of the energies to create them. And so I was more so confusing myself and trying to make them out of order. But I ended up getting it and giving myself those upgrades. And then we started on our clue scroll that we found earlier. So we were able to do all of the steps without a guide, which was pretty cool, I guess. I knew where all of the different steps were. And so whenever we got to the 3rd step, we opened up the lodestone for Sears and Catherby, and then talked to the knight in the castle, which gave us one of the last steps, which was this one that's, of course, in Varrock over by the mining spot. So I had to keep opening the map because I didn't want to look up where it was I needed to walk, and I actually wanted to just count the steps, which it's right here next to the tree. I think it's slightly different in old school. And then we opened the drawers to get our casket, which our loot ended up being okay. We got a heraldic black shield, which is not a whole lot of anything, but it will probably come in handy later. We then decided to finally start Necromancy. So you start out the quest by going to this portal and getting instant killed by a sword. I realized that that symbol means instant kill. We got to see this really cool cutscene after talking to Death and meeting Rizal, the first Necromancer. And he explained to us that in order to beat him, we also needed to become a Necromancer and basically beat him at his own game. Death explains to us that he's the first Necromancer, is that he is enslaving all of these spirits and ghosts. But my character comes up with the bright idea of, instead of doing the bad thing, why don't we just ask the ghosts and the skeletons and the zombies to be our friends? And Death says, well, why not? Why not try it? So we got this guy, this Necromancer that's been in the game forever, and Death tells him that he has to teach us how to be a Necromancer, and he reluctantly agrees, and we start our first spell and summon our first friend.
Oh, hey there, buds.
And he explains to us the Necromancy skill, and it gives us these pop-ups, which I wish it had given to me at the very beginning of the game. It kind of explains the crit system and the way that the hits work and the way that the different abilities work. I assume they added this to deal with the new players that were coming in with the interest of Necromancy, much like myself, but I kind of wish it had done it earlier. There's also a skill tree with Necromancy, which is super cool. And of course, we're at the very bottom because we just started. So we unlock our first skill, which is to summon a skeletal warrior. And as we level up and finish the quest, of course, we are going to unlock more things. So we start out with our skull lantern, which lets us summon our skeleton friend. Check out the shop and see these new necromancy runes, which are pretty cool. We'll get to those at some point. Talk to this ghost who gives us our first set of necromancer armor, which gives you a really nice health buff. And that's where we're going to end it for today. So thank you again for checking out the episode. We did a whole lot, and in the next video, we're going to continue working on quests, work on some more tasks, and just continue to level up. See you in the next one.